On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, I would like to talk to you about how the Bitcoin Cash War is continuing to rage on. I have the latest figures for you. Then we'll talk about the crypto markets. They've taken another big leg down. I'll share my thoughts on that. Then we'll go on to talk about how the fourth biggest exchange in Europe is due to launch this new crypto fund, which will start buying crypto from the market as soon as next week. Then we'll talk about this major Venezuelan department store that has begun accepting crypto as payment because price inflation in the country is trending towards 1,000,000% for this year. And then finally, I have a new analysis tool for you, which will help you focus on the fundamentals of the leading cryptos during this bearish time in the markets. If you're new around here and you want to get rid of the ads, support the show, and earn cryptocurrency rewards on a daily basis, please check out thecryptoverse.show, which will be linked down below this video. If you click on that big blue button that says Get Paid to Watch, it'll explain exactly how to get rid of the ads, support the show, and earn cryptocurrency rewards on a daily basis. For the time being though, let's get into the news. So the Bitcoin Cash War rages on. Bitcoin SV currently has like 54% of the hashing power versus Bitcoin ABC, which has about 46%, I assume. But we can check this out on CoinDance. Both chains are at the same block number. Actually, since I last checked this, they're now neck and neck with 50-50% of the hash rate per chain. Now, at the start of the hash war, quite soon after the start of the hash war, when the Bitcoin Cash chain split, I tweeted out saying that Bitcoin ABC had managed to get 44 blocks ahead. But since then, SV has caught up to the point where, well, both chains were at the same block height the last time I checked it. And anytime you check CoinDance, it will tell you, excuse me, what the situation is. And right at the top here, it says Bitcoin Cash, that's Bitcoin ABC, is now back to being 4 blocks ahead. What's interesting is this chart, which shows you the variation in the hash rate. The red line being Bitcoin SV, Craig Wright's camp. Well, the last time I checked it, it was clearly above the Bitcoin ABC chain, and now the Bitcoin ABC camp has brought some more mining power to bear to rebalance that. So this is very interesting. Now, whichever coin maintains the highest hash rate and sustains it long enough, that'll be the longest chain, which is usually the winner, if you like. However, you see on CoinDance that companies are going to continue to support both variations, Bitcoin ABC and Bitcoin SV. So they could coexist as their own independent altcoins. However, Craig Wright, as we know, has already expressed his intention to destroy all competitors. So if he has to, he'll, create even more hashing power and then do a 51% attack on Bitcoin ABC. But the thing is, this is going to cost an absolute fortune. And with the prices the way they are, it's just a case of whose ego is big enough to take that kind of a loss. Because this is incredibly expensive stuff to do. Anyway, the combined price of these two coins is now just over $300, which is kind of what I expected to happen if you've been following along with my analysis of this. If we look at the charts, in fact, where I'm getting the prices from for the two coins is, Poloniex are trading them. If you add both of them up, it's like $304 now for both Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin ABC. And if we look at the charts, if I go over to a Bitcoin Cash, where's Bitcoin Cash? I have to type it in. BCH, sorry, that's the wrong one. BCH, let's do it on Coinbase, BCH USD. Here we go, these are the lines I was looking for. Sounds like Star Wars, isn't it? These are the lines we're looking for. So I sold my Bitcoin Cash on the 4th of November, as I declared in that video, right there, around about $565. I actually sold it in pounds, but that's the date I sold it on. I actually sold it on Coinbase. So right now, I hold exactly 0 Bitcoin Cash, which is fortunate given that I sold at this horizontal dotted line at $565, and this other one down here at 361. It's actually lower than that now, isn't it? It's more like 304. If we adjust this, actually, if I type in 304, that's how far down it's gone. pretty bad. So that's the combined price of both coins from the split, significantly lower than the price of Bitcoin Cash before it split. So like I say, I now own no Bitcoin Cash and have no intention to buy either of the split coins until further notice. Let's go on to a broader market roundup. So in general, the market has taken another reasonably large leg down. The overall market cap is now 173 billion, which is gives you a general feel, for where the prices are. This isn't a huge surprise though, that considering Bitcoin broke down below the 6,000 level, right? That kind of puts the market back into bearish territory. We were consolidating, which was good news, but breaking down that below that key level, it's kind of bearish. So today we see double-digit losses throughout the top 30. A few of the major coins like Bitcoin manages to maintain like a 4.5% loss. Same with XRP. XRP remains in second place by market cap, which you probably have seen yourself. Now, while we have every reason to remain optimistic about the technology, blockchain technology, tokenization, etc., this situation with the price drops, it just proves the reality right now is that the vast majority of the pricing is still speculation. And pricing largely on that basis brings with it a natural fragility, right? It doesn't bother me though. Actually, that's a lie. Of course it bothers me, right? We have 3 layers to the brain. My rational mind, my prefrontal cortex here can be like, oh no, rationally, everything's still fine. But my reptilian brain goes, money going down, bad, right? And that creates an emotional reaction. So yeah, I'm human like anyone else. So, but I can rebalance it with my executive control from my cerebral cortex, right? So yes, I have the emotions, just like everyone else when your wealth starts evaporating before your very eyes. But the key thing is that I don't take that emotion as a sign to sell, especially not as a knee-jerk reaction. That's the worst thing, right? If your reptilian brain just goes mental and you just take action on that basis, that is the path to poverty. That's why we have the cerebral cortex, so we can exercise executive control over those more primitive parts of ourselves if it's well developed. So actually, on that very point, these are the times when I tend to re-recommend meditation as a practice, because the motivation to start such a thing is much higher in a situation like this where there is pain. Ironically though, it's much better to start your meditation practice before that, in preparation for what inevitably comes sooner or later, which is, some kind of negative market movement. But onto some good news now, shall we? Let's go on to the next story, which is this Venezuela, not Venezuela, that's the story after that. Switzerland greenlights this crypto ETP, exchange traded product, which is to be listed next week. Now this story actually says it's the world's first. Let me show you it, but I don't think it is the world's first. So it's Switzerland greenlights world's first crypto ETP to be listed next week. So yeah, just a quick point. I don't think it is the first ETP. I've already seen some of these similar products trading in Europe. And I've even reported on them, so I don't know why they're saying it's the first. In any case, it's the type of ETP that we want, because it states here in the red, check this out, further down here, it says that, quote, the fund automatically allocates crypto distributions based on their performance in market cap rankings. When you buy the stock, market makers buy the equivalent amount of cryptos, ding, 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 according to the distribution, and then they send it to a custodian for safekeeping. That was me saying ding, ding, ding. That wasn't in the article. So this is what we want. We want the funds to actually go to the market and buy the cryptos that their clients want, right? That's what we want. And the fact that they're then putting them into a custodial service means great. That liquidity is coming to the real market. So beautiful. Now, interestingly, the ticker symbol for this product is HODL. And this is going to be listed on the SIX Swiss exchange, which ranks number 4 in Europe by size. So let's look at what's in the fund. That might be the next thing you want to know. So here's a little extract from it. So here are the index components weighted by weight, of course. Bitcoin accounts for 48% of it, XRP 29%, Ethereum accounts for about 16% of it. Bitcoin Cash ABC, interestingly, accounts for 3.4% of it, and then LiteCoin 2.8%. So specifically they want to hold Bitcoin ABC. That's very interesting, isn't it? And then you see down here the index, it says HODL5 is the ticker symbol. So they're going for the top, some of the top 5 cryptos by market cap, as you would expect. So this is a lot simpler for now European pension funds, for example. If they want to diversify their portfolio against a financial crisis, or if their clients are going yappa, 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 we want to get into cryptos, then the pension fund would be wise to maybe segment off a maximum of, say, 5% of their fund and then stick it into this product. It's super easy. They don't have to mess about with hardware wallets, custodial services, multi-sigs. The fund will take care of all that for them by enlisting the services of a specialist. Let's go on to the next story. Venezuela this time. Now we're talking about Venezuela. Major Venezuelan department store chain has started accepting cryptocurrency. So this was reported by good old Bitcoin.com. Here's the article. Major Venezuelan department store chain accepts cryptocurrency. Written 15 hours ago, this article, so I'm right on the money with this one. There's a really key part of this that I've highlighted. So it says here in the orange, Tracky, which is the department store, accepts payments in a number of popular cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin Cash, which one? Bitcoin Core, Dash, Ethereum, and LiteCoin. Again, all the major capped cryptos. So since price inflation in Venezuela is due to hit 1 million% by the end of 2018, that's insane, I'm thinking that it might actually make sense for them to start listing the prices on the shelf edge labels, both in crypto and in fiat, like all alongside each other. That's the problem with the hyperinflationary economy, is if you were one of the people working in the store, oh my goodness, it would be like multiple times a day. You'd have to go and change the shelf edge labels, if they even bother, right? Because prices are rising so fast, like 1,000,000% a year. That's just insane. I haven't worked out what that is out on a daily basis, but literally hour by hour, the prices will be rising, which is absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Sometimes in hyperinflating economies, people have to be paid multiple times a day, because if you wait to the end of the day, well, what their wages were supposed to be at 9 a.m. by 5 p.m. is almost like worth 90% less than it was at the beginning of the day. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Living in the UK, of course, I've never experienced anything like that in my life. Back to the point, though, it might make sense for the department store to list the prices in crypto. So like this, 6 apples is 0.01 dash, right? Because even despite the fragility of the crypto prices, they are still superior to national currencies like the Venezuelan bolivar that has 1,000,000% inflation. Plus, cryptos are borderless, right? Meaning, say I employ a virtual assistant in Venezuela to do work for me online, sorting emails or doing data entry or whatever, I could pay that employee in crypto, and then they could just go, receive it on their phone, go straight to the department store and buy clothing and food and all the rest of it. That's the kind of adoption I'm talking about. So you often see adoption of new technologies like this begin at the extremes, like Venezuela is an extreme case, right? And then once it's there, it's established, then it makes its way gradually to the middle. We talked about it on live stream last week, crossing the chasm situation, because the middle, the normies, right, in the middle, everything's fine, they've got tap to pay, like Andreas Antonopoulos says. The advanced economies don't really need crypto. It'll get to them eventually just because it'll take over, but starting it in extreme cases is where it's at. So there's actually a video of this lady who had a bunch of donations made in crypto, and then she went and spent it in the department store, proving this is in fact a real story. So here it is. So thanks to the donations I bought with $260 of Bitcoin, I bought over 800 items, including school supplies and clothing. So here she is posting this little thank you Reddit thingy with a bit of an intro, and here we go. There's the big sign hanging from the roof that says we accept cryptos. Here's all the stuff she bought. Here's paying in crypto on her phone. It was actually charging up at the time. Boom, boom. Paid in BTC. Real adoption, it says here. And then what I want to show you is the last bit where there's all these bags all over the floor. Look at all that stuff. Absolutely superb. Gifted to kids who will need it. So yeah, that's like a charitable situation. But I like, because that's a one-off. That's not sustainable because it relies on giving, right? It's not a real economy because the production has to come from somewhere. I much prefer to do it at the production end, which is to actually give that lady a job, say, as a virtual assistant, and pay her for providing value, and then she can spend it on herself or volunteer for the school kids or whatever, right? So that it doesn't rely on productive economies donating to underproductive economies. You could just bypass that whole unproductive economy by using crypto to pay people directly, right? All right, on to the final story. I'm going to give you a new tool to play with, which will help you analyze the fundamentals of the leading cryptos, which will keep you focused on the right things. So you may or may not have heard about this, but CoinDesk have launched this new thing called the Crypto Economics Explorer. It's fantastic. Check this out. So this will diagram the various elements of cryptos that they have plotted here. So price, exchange volume, social media activity, developer activity, and network activity. So this is one of these spider graph thingies. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the technical name of this. Someone let me know in the comments below. So you set your base currency, right, which is in US dollars, and then you plot one currency against another. I've, of course, plotted EOS against Tron, and you can see the higher it scores, the further out the dot goes, and the perfect crypto would be the entire shape of this pentagon, right? I think Bitcoin is actually the full whack if you turn it off like this. Actually, that's a bug. That happened to me the other day, but anyway. Bitcoin should be maxed out in all areas, so it's the index, right? But then I put Tron against EOS, and you can see. And if you click on one of them, you can look at any specific corner, like and what percentage they get. It's great. It's great for comparing two cryptos, especially relevant cryptos like EOS versus Tron. That's a perfectly legitimate comparison. And then if one of them's too wild, you can sort of zoom out and change the scale to get some more perspective. Now, if you put Ethereum on it, it absolutely destroys EOS and Tron, especially in the developer area, in the exchange area, which is kind of interesting. EOS just has a slight edge on Ethereum in terms of network activity, but Ethereum destroys it in every other way possible. So this is very interesting stuff. This is not CoinDesk's opinion either. They are pulling like 50 different data sources and running it through this to plot these things, and it changes on a daily basis. You might notice there's a little calendar, and you can change this. Like if you put it to yesterday, the things change ever so slightly. So this is absolutely superb stuff. And so this is focusing on fundamentals rather than getting distracted by the prices. Ultimately, long term, these are the things that will determine the price long term, right? Once adoption dwarfs speculation, then it will be solid. And it's these kind of analytical tools that'll help us pick the cryptos that have those solid fundamentals that once all the speculation is out of the way, right, we'll have a solid investment in a solid platform that we saw had solid fundamentals early on and then rode it up to mass adoption. So there we go. But that's all I've got for you today. If you like this episode, go ahead, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Please leave me a comment below with some feedback, and I would very much appreciate it if you would get subscribed. Also, check out my online store because it has all kinds of clothing items bearing the Cryptoverse branding. I appreciate you doing that because your purchase from the online store helps to keep this channel going, especially in a bear market. Other than that, I'll be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. Until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.